Nobody's lost in the mists of space. Timey.
Time mist space.
Okay. So, who is ready for Farscape fairy tale time?
Moi.
Hi, friends.
Hello, Poppets.
Howdy, y'all.
And welcome to Muppet Sex and Trauma. I'm Sara Ezzat, the Fat Culture Critic on YouTube.
I'm Jack Kramme, editor / right-hand man for Passion of the Nerd.
And I'm Josh Gosdin, and I'm getting over a cold.
Yeah. And that explains the very... What did we define it as, the Sam Elliott voice?
Yeah, and I'm Sam Elliott.
Actually, he sounds like John in this episode, minus the southern drawl.
A little bit, yeah.
It's an episode for accents.
Yeah.
The Locket was written by Justin Monjo and Ian Watson, both Farscape regulars who last worked together on Crackers Don't Matter. Once upon a time, in a cloud of space mist, a boy watches through a window, waiting for his girl to return. Zhaan is awoken early from her meditation to find that Moya and the crew are hiding out in some stellar mist. The crew is minus one Aaron, who is flying recon in a transport pod, and plus one Stark, who found them before they entered the mist. John is anxious for Aaron's return. She's been gone a whole day with no contact, but when she does return, she's an old woman. To her, it hasn't been a day, it's been 165 cycles. She has lived a life, she says. A whole life, with a husband, and son, and a granddaughter she must get back to. She's just come to warn them to leave the mist before it's too late. But no one believes her story. It's only been a day. They know it. But this old woman is definitely Aaron, and she's definitely aged. While Zhaan and Crichton care for Aaron in the medbay, Dargo finds Chiana and Rigel snooping on her transport. Dargo lectures Chiana and orders her to go keep Aaron company. Chiana is not happy at being ordered or at playing nurse. It's a role she's not great at, and Aaron proves it by getting the upper hand and slipping her a Mickey. Aaron stops in for one last goodbye to pilot and leaves the ship. John chases Aaron to a planet in the mist. Where he does indeed find that she has a granddaughter. There is some real timey-wimey stuff at play, and Aaron tells him if he doesn't get off the planet before the mist closes, he'll be trapped here. 55 years will pass for him, but only 8 hours on Moya. John tries for Moya, getting a message out as he goes, but still the mist closes, and he and Aaron are trapped. Back on Moya, Stark thinks he knows what's happening. This mist isn't a mist, it's a center halo, and he thinks if he joins his magic mind powers with her magic mind powers, their mystic mind sex will let them see time. So when a yellow magic half-face man and a blue planned wizard magic lady love each other very, very much, timey-wimey magic wet stuff, and the lack of earth moves for everybody. Far, far away in another kind of time, Aaron and John are living their lives on a garden planet. She has made peace with her lot, but he has not. Still, they spend their days together walking and talking, living all the small concerns of a peaceful life in aging bodies. Aaron wears a lock that Chiana gave her long ago, in that other life. Crichton teases her that she won't show him whose picture's inside. You know whose picture's inside. She's the only love of her life. But he says he doesn't want to see that face. Back on Mist-spun Moya, another pair is having a not-so-pleasant argument. Dargo wants Chiana to feel safe here, to feel that she doesn't need to cheat and steal. But Chiana says that's who she is, but it isn't who he is. She wonders if maybe they just aren't compatible. But there isn't time for that now. The 8 hours are almost up. There will be a break in the mist, and they hope John and Aaron will make contact. They do, but now they are very old. So old that Aaron doesn't survive the flight. Breathing over her body, John opens her locket to find his own face, the only love of her life. Gathering in command, Stark shares what he and Zhaan learned from their magic timey-wimey boning. It isn't the planet in the mist that are moving faster than time. It's Moya who is out of time, preserved in the mist like a pearl in an oyster, and the mist is hardening still. If they don't get out, time will stop entirely. So they have a choice. Go to the garden planet and live out their lives, or try to get out of the mist, maybe get back their old time. They opt for the latter, and so they need to starburst in reverse. But as they try, time starts to slow even more, and no one can reach the controls. Stark and Zahn manage to do more sex magic, which by the laws of transitive previous sex magic mind sex, they somehow give John the power to move at a normal speed. He initiates the backward starburst, and just like that, time is reversed a couple days, and none of this has ever happened, except in the memories of Stark and Zahn, who insist the ship steer clear of the mist entirely. With the plot wrapped up, it's time to talk about why Stark is here. He has information about Dargo's son, now a teenage boy, but also a slave about to be auctioned. Dargo vows to save his son. And in a final coda, Aaron and John find Aaron's old locket. It's stuck shut. In this time, Aaron hasn't put anything in it yet, but when they open it, they do find a pinch of dust. Yeah, I don't know how to end that.
Either today, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So thoughts?
I loved this episode. It's funny because Farscape is, for me at least, it's sort of all over the place, and it's because of that, episodes don't always grab me from the big beginning. It takes me a little while to get into them sometimes. But this one from the get-go, I was like, no, I'm in. This is amazing. I love me a good time dilation story. I love anything that plays around with time and time travel, time dilation. So yeah, I loved this one.
There was dilation. I'm 12 today.
Dude, I wanted to love this one. I struggled to like this one.
Okay.
I am a fan of time travel stories for sure. I'm not a fan of the stories where one character gets inexplicably aged up for just one episode, because the compression of the pathos inherent to that story almost always fails to grab me. And so it wasn't until John joined Aaron and turned into his country bumpkin old man self that I felt like the episode had legs. And then for sure the most interesting parts were the climax and denouement on Moya at the end. But overall, the episode felt like a lot of really nice moments woven together by really tattered and frayed thread.
Okay.
Fair enough.
For you, is it like you can't get emotionally invested because you didn't see what happened to Aaron all those years? Like, is that part of it, or
part of it, and it's also it's like character development fast forwarding.
Yeah.
Trying to come along with the pathos of a character who's like, Sara, I haven't seen you in ages since the teaser of this episode. It's very difficult for me to be like, oh yes.
I totally get that. Yeah. That is missing from these stories. Yeah. Sara?
I see where you're coming from. I think the fairy tale nature of this gives me a buy-in, I guess. But I feel like it is a bit of a message in a bottle kind of thing. And I love that this is really the only way that John and Aaron would ever be able to grow old together.
Okay.
Because she has to age 160 cycles before
it's a cycle a year. That's a year, isn't it?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Why do Sebastians live a lot longer, or like
obviously?
Yeah. Like 400 years.
Yeah. But John, John, he was on the planet for 55 years, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And starting around like mid-20s, early 30s.
Yeah. Sorry, I cut you off there. I didn't mean to.
Yeah, so like this is the only way that they get to grow old together, is if she has is given some kind of magical whole start. of like.
Because it takes her 160 cycles to chill out.
Well, because it takes her 160 cycles for her to be old when he is old.
Oh, I see. Like biology wise, it's the only way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Like, unless he was, unless, I mean, the other way would be if he was preserved, but that is what actually happened, is that he was preserved in time and she moved through time normally. But yeah, like there has to be timey-wimey shenanigans for them to be able to be two old people going, ouch, my hip.
Yeah. If she ages a lot slower, that makes sense. On the aging, I thought the aging makeup looked pretty good, although if there is like a 4K version floating out there somewhere, it probably doesn't look that good in 4K. But for the format and the technology it was shot on, it looked pretty decent. But Ben Browder, that man loves a Southern accent. He really loves a Southern accent. I'm like, why? How did you develop this Southern drawl on this planet with Eren? Like, where did this come from? Like, I know he's going
natural.
Like, I know he's going for the sort of like, Sonny Jim kind of, that sort of like old farmer Tom sort of thing. But like, my mind's just like, where did you? Like, we gain accents from the people around us. Generally speaking, we learn them. I don't. What?
Yeah, I mean,
we do, but also our native accent is pulled out when we're comfortable.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
When we're relaxed.
I think it's an extreme version of no longer code switching.
Absolutely.
No longer code switching?
Yeah.
Code switching is what Josh does when he talks to us in regular American accent and not cowboy land.
Oh, okay.
I
for example,
I think I've talked about this before, but I'm biracial. My father's white and my mother's Mexican American. And when I'm around my dad's family, my Texan accent just gets real strong, quick. And when I'm around my mom's family, like I just my words just start to sound a little different, and I just start to put accents on a different syllable. And it's not ever something that I've tried to do on purpose, but it's definitely something that I've caught myself doing. And after I've learned about code switching for myself, it's like, oh, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm adapting to my environment. And this regular voice that you guys hear is absolutely my everyday business voice, or whatever we want to call it. For sure.
My mum was born in England, and she does the same when she's around her parents or her family. The English accent comes out more. So I guess that makes sense. I just found it very odd. I liked it because it's humorous. But yeah, is Ben Browder a Texan? Is he from down south?
He's Southern. I think he's Tennessee.
Yeah, he's Tennessee.
Okay. So yeah. Guess that's
he is totally playing it up because he made this decision to sort of play old Crichton as this
like old man River kind of thing.
Yeah, this very particular kind of presence. Him and Claudia Black did a audio commentary on this one, which is very interesting. And yeah, the makeup is the same makeup that they use to give Scorpy his Scorpy face. It's called Hot Flash.
Okay.
And yeah, it's just sort of something that developed, particular version of this character developed as they were sort of creating it. And apparently there's something a bit problematic in that he apparently really enjoyed like playing the dirty old man, including with all the women on set.
I'm sorry.
Because he talks about, and this was recorded not long after they'd wrapped the show. Actually, I think before they'd done the TV pilot. So this was still in the 2000s. And he was talking about how he seemed to be able to get away with it because he thinks women don't find old men threatening and find it amusing when old men flirt. No, Ben, that's not what's actually happening.
That's a bad take.
Slippery slope.
Yeah, but it's yeah, it's different than when young men do it. But no, when the old men flirt with you when you're running a cache or something, especially if you're working, it's not actually fun. It's just easier to play it off like that. But anyway, I now that he is an older man, he's probably, I hope he's learned better.
I looked him up a little while ago. That man is 60 years old now. So he was in his 40s here. He was 40, I think, which is insane to me because he looks like he looks 30 max.
Yeah.
Like, wow. I think it's the baby face, the smooth baby face. And yeah.
Yeah. And he's still a very handsome man in his 60s.
I'm not sure if it was that the old man makeup was so much better on Claudia Black or so much worse on Ben Browder, but it was a disparity between the two.
Yeah. Also,
Ben's acting made up for it. He was a convincing portrayal of an old man, if not a vision of an old man.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was wondering though if there was like a whole face prosthetic, because there was a shot of Ben Browder's ear where it looked tiny. I'm like, that's a fake ear. That doesn't look right. It was tiny, and I don't think he's got small ears. It's just something I noticed.
I don't think it was intended to watch on televisions as good as we have.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like I thought it looked good, but then I had the thought of, oh, I don't want to see this in 4K though, because it probably doesn't look that good.
He looks like he's aged rough. The years have not been kind to old Critic, whereas they've been much kinder to old Aaron.
That's exactly what I'd say. Yeah. She looks a lot more. She's aged a bit more gracefully than he has.
And that's in the story is, she's accepted her lot and she's happy planting trees, and he's just talking to Harvey and grumbling and hitting on her granddaughter and being a grump.
I loved Claudia Black's performance throughout the whole episode too. She was amazing. She brought her A game. I mean, she always does, but this was especially really good.
Absolutely heartbreaking. So that was, her performance was definitely one of the highlights for me of the episode, and just the earnestness that she portrayed. I've got to get back to my granddaughter, and it was still clever, badass Aaron underneath all that arthritis, and but then, good God Almighty, the scene between the two of them where he's like, "Who's in the locket?" and she's like, "Oh, it's just the love of my life." He's like, "Oh, why would I want to look at that movie?" And they're like poking each other and pulling each other's pigtails. It was just, come on, it was just adorable.
Yeah. That was great.
Like, even if everything it takes to get there doesn't work for you, that like you'd have to be, I don't know. I haven't met anyone who isn't caught by that scene.
Oh, absolutely.
It's so adorable.
Yeah. But let's rewind and talk about some other bits. So Stark is here.
Sure, why not?
His introduction it didn't bug me. I was just like, why do it that way? He's just there. I'm like, all right. Like
they did a scene of him arriving and they decided to cut it. I don't know. I mean, time maybe.
Probably, that makes sense, but that's all I needed. Him there was just like, what? Like, what? And then there's that very quick throwaway line, or how long have you been here, to whatever he says. So, and I'm just like, all right, cool, but give me a little something. Like, I was just like, all right, Stark's here, cool. It would have been really great if there was, the shot of him arriving, they weren't sure who it was, the door opens, and then freaking Stark is standing there. That would have been amazing. But time probably. Or
maybe when they went back, it was back to when he was coming on board.
That's what I was about to say.
That would have been amazing, actually. That would have been really good.
Yeah, just that little bit more of an edit to go when, like, I wish they if they decided to cut the arrival scene and just go back and just have him arrive, because when they're making the decision about whether Aaron's going to go.
That would have fixed the entire. I mean, I'm calling it a problem. It's not really a problem. It's like a little irk. That's all. And
it matches up with the fact that they cut the scene of him leaving on a transport pod the last time he left. So Stark it's what Stark does. He just pops up out of nowhere and leaves out of nowhere.
Yeah. I think because Josh.
It's pretty Farscapey for me. It's not quite up there with Lux and Hyper Rage, but in a very just like, well, here's what's happening right now.
Well, I had that thought too. Farscape does that a lot. It sometimes doesn't bother to flesh things out or really explain them too well. It does that quite a lot. And it's a bit of a slight frustration for me, a little bit.
Yeah. We didn't fully think, but everybody here's the story.
Well,
yeah.
Well, let's pretend we thought things through.
yeah. But I just love Stark too, but I did become a little suspicious of him when they did the first mind melding thing. I was like, oh no, please don't turn Stark into a bad guy. Please don't. And I'm so glad that they didn't, because he's such a sympathetic and empathetic character that it would have ruined it for me. Like, I would have hated that.
What do we think of Stark and Zahn as a couple?
I'd be into it.
I'm good. It first of all,
mind magic ship.
Yeah, it the choices that the show makes sometimes of like when to show sex and when to show sex, like the metaphor of sex or the impression of sex or whatever. Like we've seen Dargo poke his head up from beneath Chiana's feet and say, "Stick around, John. Tell us about it." Why did we need the glass being shaken off the table? Why did we need John's cup to runneth over?
For the timey-wimey none.
So like even to the end of the episode, I was like, what were they going for? Were they going for sex? Were they going for romance? Were they going for something ship teasy or something like that? Because I didn't get
I
any of that.
don't know. I don't know. No idea. I do feel like both of those characters are strong enough on their own, though. I mean, I enjoy them as very self-sufficient sort of standalone characters. I don't know how to phrase this exactly, but I think they're very strong characters on their own, and we don't really need that from them. I don't know.
Well, they play off each other well. They have good chemistry, unquestionably. I think it was just the editing and directing choices that they were making that was making it difficult for me to get on board with and be like, ooh.
We don't really get a whole lot of build up or anything, but it's just is a thing.
Yeah, it's just a thing, and there it is. Like,
it's just a thing. She's comfortable with him being naked standing there while she's meditating naked.
She doesn't seem to be bothered by being naked around anybody, though.
Right? Yeah.
She's ready to go for the sex magic unity stuff, just like right out of the gate, because the magic fits with the magic.
Mm-hmm.
These are just the kind of characters that are ready to be a thing.
Sure. And I mean, but her lack of a nudity taboo also meant that I didn't even read into that either. Like I was like, all right, cool. Like if anybody walked in, she wouldn't have given a shit.
Exactly. That's how I read it. I was just, she's comfortable. She doesn't care.
I think it's as soon as he suggests the sort of unity mixing thing, she's like, ooh. You're like, okay. Mm-hmm. Like she's that definitely but I don't know if it's if they're in, there isn't really time space to know if they're interested in who each other are as people, or if they're just like, ooh, let's mix magic. Let's do this the sex magic sex with the two minds of with the blue light and the yellow light and see what happens with green light.
With the blue light.
She also didn't look like she had much fun afterwards. Like the look on her face afterwards was more like pain than pleasure.
Yeah.
It was just hard to read. And if it does develop into a ship, great, because their final scene together where they're the ones who realize we're the only ones who remember this, and they kind of have that moment over that. That was great. I loved that chemistry and I loved that interaction.
Yeah.
So if they go forward with Stark and Zahn, I'll get on board, I'm sure.
On the topic of them being the only two that remember, I don't know how I feel about that. There's something poetic about Eren and Jon not remembering their time together, but at the same time, I hate it because I think I love it because I hate it, or I hate it because I love it. It's
valid reaction.
Yeah, I just because that was so beautiful, and it just sucks that they don't remember that. But there's a poetry in that too. It's Farscape doing I will remember you kind of. You know, it's yeah.
It is the closest the show ever comes to the reset button because they don't remember it, but not everything was erased. Zahn and Stark still remember everything, but yeah, it's a shame they don't remember it. It's because it was a very beautiful time that only we got to see.
Yeah, and I wonder if they'll call back to it somehow. I mean, kind of hope so, but as I said, there is like a poetry in them not remembering. So I don't know.
There definitely is. So this is another frustrating trope of mine. I don't mind that Stark and Zahn were the only ones to remember it, and especially the explanation of like, I guess it's because we were in our unity when we pulled it. Like that sounds great. Whoever it is that presses the reset button is usually the only one who remembers it, if anybody does at all. Great. But then when Jon and Eren are hanging out at the end and they're like, do you get the feeling something happened? Yeah, I kind of do. I was like, no, come on. No.
That's a bit cheesy.
You can't have it both ways. And then when they open the locket and it like beautiful scene, beautiful moment, frustrating writing choice.
and then they like stare at it and each other. It's like,
yeah, and then the dissolved photo that shouldn't have been in there in the first place falls to the floor, and I was just like, come on, you had me.
I like it, even though it makes no sense. And I wonder, I think maybe if we'd had do you get the feeling from Zahn and Stark something happened?
Yeah, that would have been cool. They acting weird, or yeah.
Yeah, and they're not telling us what happened, but I think something happened. I don't know. I kind of go with it for the fairy tale. I just go with fairy tale logic on this one.
Oh, sure, you got to go with it, but it also begs some fun, I guess, sci-fi questions of: did they go back in time, or did time rewind? Or did they leave it? And are they now in an alternate timeline because of the way Stark was describing what happens in a Halo Center?
Well, yeah. At first, I was like, "Wait, Krace is gonna be older, Jothi's gonna be older, everybody's gonna be older. This is ruined the universe." But I don't think that's what is going to happen.
No, yeah. They're back to where the moment that they left.
Yeah,
but maybe somewhere in some magic stuff, Eren's granddaughter is also living her life.
That'd be nice.
That is an interesting tease as well that they left at the end there.
I'm a sappy bleeding heart romantic, so I think that's why I ate it up, Josh. But I completely agree with you. I completely agree. But I still just eat it up yummy, yummy, yummy.
Sometimes I do too. A lot of times I can't. A lot of times I'm just over here with a single tissue and just there was just, that's what I mean when it was the thread that was weaving these moments that was tattered.
Maybe if you hadn't been sick, you would have had a little more.
I mean,
patience.
Maybe, but I definitely cried my eyes out to Ted Lasso last week.
Me too.
I haven't seen it. La, 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 la.
Don't worry.
Nope, we're not. No details.
They play soccer. That's all. That's all I'll say.
I've only seen the first season, I think. So I got to
Oh.
catch up.
Oh,
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I really liked it though.
Yeah, I love it as a whole. Yes. Okay, so another thread that, you know, a pair of people don't remember, but we got an interesting exploration on Dargo and Chiana.
I hated it. Hated it. For
I
me, the
loved it. I
conflict
loved it.
came. The conflict came out of nowhere for me. Like it. I
Really?
hated that. Yeah. I understand. Like I understand it. I understand Dargo's frustration and Chiana wanting to be a free spirit and Dargo being like you're a part of this crew, but it felt like it came out of nowhere for me. I don't know.
No, I loved it. It was like again a very good moment in the show, or in this episode for me was that little lightning storm between the two of them. He's like, you're part of this crew now, and it feels like the conversation is going to end there, but then she goes, you can't change me. Like that was like, oof. Oh,
I liked the drama of it. Yeah, I just felt it just still felt forced though for me.
I found it more organic. I think that
okay,
their yin and yang has been built very well, and this is the first time that we've actually examined that rather than just reveled in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that's initially why I had an issue with them together in the first place, because they felt like oil and water. Yeah, I didn't feel like it was a good fit.
And oil and water is interesting, but it doesn't last. And this is why I feel like this has been coming since they got together, because this is an outgrowth of who they are. And yeah, the thing that sets it off is a nothing burger, but something was always going to set it off. Yeah. And we've undone that, but we got to see a bit of a head that there is a fundamental flaw in a fundamental incompatibility. Chiana says we're not going to make it, are we? And we know this isn't the first hint of that, because we know back on the Kissy planet with the little thing that they said we're not compatible, but what the hell, it's still fun.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, there's that. Yeah. I suppose all I needed
you guys
was
were
just
like, well, they aren't going to have kids after all. I'm like, there are other meanings for incompatible.
Right. Yeah. I guess all I really wanted was just a couple of episodes where we saw a little bit more friction leading up to this, because it just felt like it really came out of nowhere, even though it makes sense textually and in terms of their personalities and whatnot. Yeah, like Dargo basically wants her to fall in line, and she was like, bitch, what? Like, have you met me?
But remember, it's been unwound. So we are now back to the trigger hasn't been pulled, and they're just on the track.
I have a feeling it's gonna get pulled again though. Like it's
yes. Yeah. But
that's very obvious.
But this in this episode was preview. I like that we get like a preview.
Since they reset the clock, I guess we're getting a fleshing out and more of a yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, we have the opportunity to do all the things that you're requesting. This just gave us a preview of what happens when something sets them off.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. No, I think I'm better. I'm better with it now that you guys have explained that. Yeah. Yeah. I'm with it. Yeah. All right.
We're here for you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm on board for the ship, but I always know. But even if I didn't know it was coming on ahead, I would be thinking that this is a leaky boat. To overextend the metaphor.
Yeah. One thing I want to mention too, is there was a moment in this episode where I really thought we were gonna lose Aaron. Like I really thought maybe she was gonna die. Because most TV shows do have at least one big character death, and I have a feeling this show isn't going to be the exception, and I'm super curious about who, when, what, how, and I thought it might be Aaron this episode. I'm glad they didn't, but yeah.
I didn't buy the hype, but I did really enjoy that. The shot when John and Aaron get back to Moya.
Yes.
It was oh my
through
god,
the door and the soft lighting. It just
it was like a Renaissance painting, man. Like it was just gorgeous.
My freaking heart. My God. Oh,
loved it.
Yeah, that was so beautiful.
Yeah, him cradling her body. And then the scene later when he's grieving over her and before he opens the locket, like when he's talking to her.
Oh God. I love it. It's so good.
And it feels like the characters we know, and it also feels like they've lived in these characters for 50 years.
Exactly.
It's such a well composed shot. It's almost like symbolizing how they've depended on each other for the last 55 years or whatever it is, and that's all they had. They only had each other, and just and Aaron's granddaughter, I guess.
And but, what does he call her husband? The the granddaughter's husband. They have the people on the planet, but really they just have each other. And yeah, it's.
I couldn't tell if on the deserty planet if that was like a soundstage or a real location, because if that was a soundstage, it looked really good, like really, really, really good.
I'm pretty sure it was real. A location.
Yeah, it looked like a quarry or something.
Yeah, I don't think you could fake that, but they would have had to have gone out into the close to the desert or something for that. I don't know.
I think they said it was a quarry.
Okay.
And I know the garden planet is Olympic Park or something like that. It's
Olympic Park, okay.
Or something park in Sydney.
I mean, Olympic Park is all like structures, and there's not really many trees and stuff out there. That's where the 2000 Olympics were held. There's like stadiums and pavement, and
maybe it was Centennial Park.
Centennial Park. That makes sense.
One of those words.
Centennial Park. That makes sense. That's like Centennial Park is like Sydney's version of Central Park. It's just a big park. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's very, very pretty.
Sydney's Centennial Park.
Yep.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. There's also this great shot where they're on like the green planet, and yes, we see up and turn the sky, and there's like a shot of the desolate planet. I thought that was really cool. I like that.
Yeah, the CGI was quite well done. Yeah. So, what did you think of the little conversation about the locket? Were either of you ever fooled that it was her husband's?
I knew immediately that John was going to be in the locket, but I still loved it. I aimed it up, as I said. Give me the feels. I want all of those mushy, sentimental feels. Love it.
But the question is, did John know that it was his face in the locket all along?
I was just about to say that. I think he did. And I think that makes his lines much more interesting to read if you think that he did.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to see that face.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he was being playful, kind of, yeah. It's
just charming. Yeah, we never. And he teases her about her husband. She says he wasn't ugly, but I don't. It's
Yeah.
it's a lovely exchange. I don't know
Yeah.
who Aaron's husband was that she
No.
had this relationship with at one point, and sons who died, and yeah.
Yeah.
What about I love Aaron's exchange with Pilot, where he says, "What happened to you?" And she said, "I live."
Yeah. That that made me think of Pilot's line, I've seen the stars, I think he says.
Hmm.
In that episode, I can't remember the name of it. Made me think of that. Yeah, that's a good little exchange.
That was in the Look at the Princess when the god was testing them.
That's right. And speaking of that god, before the starburst, Pilot says, Kahenu, protect Moya. I'm like, fuck Kahenu.
That's what I said. I said too. I was like, did we learn nothing from the episode? No, we didn't.
Right? No.
Apparently, Pilot didn't. Pilot still trusts in Kahenu.
Yeah, fuck Kahenu.
I was on the same page, Jack.
Thank you. I'm glad someone
As am
else
I.
was.
We all say
Yeah.
fuck Kahenu, but
I'm glad because that dude's a douche and just.
but unlike
Oh,
you know,
just a joke,
at least
bro.
there's evidence that he's real.
I guess, yeah. Sure.
I don't know that he can help them off in a central filament somewhere.
Also,
Center
did I
Halo.
hear? Did I hear John say I am too old for this shit?
Yes, you
He
did.
said shit. I was like, hang on, that's the first swear word we've heard in the show, like the actual proper swear word. I'm like, I love that it was grumpy old man John that said it. that was
they
great.
cut it off so like I think we don't quite hear the whole word.
Yeah,
they
did
tried to get
something.
him to re-record it as ship,
Okay.
but it doesn't work. I'm too old for this ship.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, just they got. I'm just. I was really surprised that they put that in because we've never heard any language like that. And yeah, there's something like I was like, did he say ship? No, he couldn't have said shit. No, there's no way he actually said shit. But
He said
I
shit.
guess he did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Even if the T was in our own heads. Yeah. I mean, I think somehow it works. It's just there's no other line that would work for that
No.
moment, and I get maybe the censors just let us have it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm really excited at the prospect of Dargo being reunited with Jothi. I'm really curious to see where that goes, and I hope it's not. I hope it picks up right from the next episode. I hope we don't get an episode of them, I don't know, doing something completely unrelated, because that's just going to really annoy me. Because Supernatural does that a lot.
Keep mentioning it in the background. They'll be like, John, we don't have time to frill around on this planet. We've got to go save my son Jothi at the 45-second mark in the episode.
Yeah,
and
then,
then they'll frill around on the planet for a whole episode.
Yeah, that's going to really bug me.
John, it's time for me to get back on the quest.
I regret
to
inform you.
Oh, no.
We'll get to. They are setting up for the final run of the series. Season. We will get to it, but yeah. Yeah, I don't want to give you the. I don't want you to be.
I mean,
I think deal with your disappointment now.
It does sound like a season finale plot, so I get it.
We're not. Yeah, it's not going to take that long, but
yeah, okay.
Don't expect it on the next episode.
Okay, that's it. Just
Josh, are you okay?
They just made it sound so urgent, though. Like,
damn it!
I guess it's not. Like, doesn't he say a couple of days or something?
It is still early 2000s television.
Yeah, I guess.
So I'm just gonna remind you of that early 2000s television is early 2000s television.
Sara almost killed me just then.
I figure if I don't tell you now, then we're going to spend most of the next discussion with you complaining about that.
Oh yeah, no. It's a good thing you told me because I would have been so mad. So this was episode 16, so we're not that far from the end. How many? Is this like 20, 22 episodes, something like that? Because that's what shows did back in
22, right?
22.
Okay, so
yeah, we're going to build up to a final arc. We're going to have a couple of episodes that are going to be bookended by Dargo saying things like, John, there's nothing more important to me than my son. We have to go save Jothi. And then the episode cuts to credits.
There is a 3-parter coming up, followed by before the last episode.
Oh, okay. Maybe they do it in a way that's like makes sense. Maybe.
So I don't know. It's not. We're not going to be drawing that out forever, but we're not going to be dealing with it immediately.
I just hope they don't do it in the way Supernatural does it, because they're like they'll bang on about this like world-ending threat, and then the next episode they'll be in fucking Iowa killing werewolves or something. I'm like, what are you doing? What? Like, okay. I don't know. I'm calm. I'm sorry. I had to get that out.
Yeah, we are not doing Supernatural, but it also isn't, current episode, the modern kind of 12 episode arc.
That's okay.
So we catharted there.
It really is a good thing that you sort of telegraphed that for me, because I want
you to be able to experience the next episodes in for themselves.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you.
In peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not telling you anything else about how things are going.
No. Cool.
John, I feel like I've lost focus on my son, Jothi. We have to find him. Cut to black.
I thought it was kind of cool too that because like for a little while now we've been seeing a more like composed, thoughtful Dargo that isn't just flying into a rage. But I love that when Stark tells him what's going on, he's immediately flies into that raging, and I was like, oh wow, like it. I was really taken aback by that. I was like, oh wow, like it makes total sense though, and too, it's his son. Yeah, but I was also like, well, come on, man, like don't shoot the messenger, like.
Yeah, which is why I think they make it clear this is why he's waited to tell him. This is, to have Zahn there to calm him, because he knew this is gonna. I mean, if you already have a hair trigger on rage to begin with, and you learn that your son is a slave about to be auctioned, a slave from working in a mine, no less. I think they said there was a.
Yeah, I kind of giggled though at the way like when Zahn's trying to calm him down, and she was like, doggo. Something about it really made me laugh. I don't know.
It's a little like she's talking to a dog.
Yes, like doggo. Yes, that's exactly what it sounds like. Yeah, she's talking to a dog or a child, maybe, like doggo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Josh, any thoughts on Dargo learning about his son?
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
No, I'm not, as concerned as Jack was about the pace at which we'll get there. But I am really looking forward to finally getting a little bit of resolution from something that we've been pitching since the pilot. The premiere. They've each had their own thing for a while. And Dargo's is always finding my son Jothi, and now we're getting closer.
Yeah, I think we've talked about how we were hoping it was a resolution we're going to get to see, rather than like oh, your son died on a planet somewhere. I'm really sorry, because that's
Yeah,
lazy.
that would be narratively a crime.
Lazy.
Yeah. But yeah, so we have this new setup to go forward.
Mm-hmm.
And what did you think of the image we have of Jothi so far?
Not what I expected, I guess. I don't know. It's fine though, I guess.
He's a cute little tentacle boy.
Yeah. I guess I was expecting him to be a bit hairier, but I guess he's a kid, so he's not going to be hairy like his father.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Just, I don't know. Never mind. Prepubescent Luxons, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, he's a full teenager.
Oh, he's a teenager. So we should have a bit of hair then. He should have braids, and
Well, he's also he's remember that he's part he's only half Luxon.
Oh, right. Okay. That makes sense. Because yeah, he looks a little different to a typical Luxon from what I could tell of the image.
Yeah, he looks different than Dargo. It's because he is half Luxon, half Sebastian.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I forgot that. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm just really excited to see where that goes and what they're gonna do there. We might get a new member of the crew.
We might.
Maybe.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see, what else does anybody have anything? I mean, the whole episode is kind of themed.
Yeah. Yeah, it really gave me a sense of like chosen family. It's not the first time we've seen the crew rally to save one of their own or show like a deep concern for each other, but I really got it here in this episode. It was really apparent here how everybody just wanted to figure out what was going on and help each other. And yeah. Oh, another thought I had too is everybody gaslighting the fuck out of Erin when she gets back. They're just like, no, it can't be. She's like, dude, I've just fucking lived an entire life. Do not tell me. Like, yeah.
Yeah, that they went with what did John say? Maybe your mind just invented memories to explain your body's aging.
Yeah, like right?
Over time dilation, which he knows about because he's a damn physicist.
Right. It's a real thing. Time dilation is a real thing.
It is. Everything is dilated. But that part was kind of funny. No, I if Jeremiah Crichton has one redeeming quality, it is the callback in this episode when John was like, they waited.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I've got to say about that.
I do love his joy when they finally reconnect, his little dance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when he pulled it out and he was like, Pilot, can you hear me? I've been waiting to say that forever. Pilot, can you hear me? Like that was adorable.
Oh, hot damn.
Yeah.
That's what I mean when I say Ben Browder did a really good job acting as an old man.
Yeah, that's the thing.
The makeup did not do a good job for Ben Browder.
Yeah, I really like
really
the performance.
roughly aged old man.
Overall, like even though I didn't understand why he now had a southern accent, I loved the character that he created there. I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, he always has a southern accent. It just it just went from man who grew up moving around the South as an astronaut kid to somebody who, I don't know, grew up in the 40s.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
backwoods somewhere.
Yeah, it just becomes so extra. Like it goes from like a 3 to 11 or something. Like,
But Browder is having so much fun doing it that
yeah,
I'm
Yeah.
great
like,
time.
yeah.
It's a very joyful performance, is what I would say.
See,
He reminded me of the granddad from the film Holes.
I don't think I've seen that.
no, I haven't seen it.
It's a adaptation of a children's book, but it's there's a point where a young girl and her grandfather are out in the desert digging holes, because it's the name of the book. And she says to him, "I don't want to do this anymore, Grandpa." And he goes, "Well, that's too damn bad." And it's all over the internet.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
That's too damn bad! You keep digging!
I'm gonna look it up based on that description alone, Josh.
That was the level of Southern sauce that he poured onto his barbecue chops when he was acting in this episode.
It was so extra. I loved it. Even though it was weird and it didn't make sense to me, I still loved it.
Yeah. I think someone needs to tell Ben that the reason the girls were being amused by him being old man was because he's so charismatic, having fun.
Mm-hmm.
That you'll just go along with whatever he's doing.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and Claudia Black is just superb.
Claudia Black doing Claudia Black is just, I'm always here for it. Always. She's just amazing.
Like the way that she embodied the physicality of being old. And
yes,
sort of,
really like
the pain and
like the hunched over sort of tight body language. Yeah.
And when they were walking along after the in the forest after the first Locket scene, and it cut to that like weird 80s cheesy montage of the two of them. She had this amazing, just full belly laugh and beautiful smile. It was so fun to see on Aaron, because we so rarely see Aaron guffaw and smile like that.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah.
So the sort of, it's not exactly theme, but what I like is that this episode took the time to mirror the two main romantic relationships of the show, even as they're creating another one, possibly. In that we see that John and Aaron have this absolute compatibility. They are of one mind and whatever, whether they're romantic, whether they're the same age, they have this thing that clicks, that lasts, that just is rock solid. And then we have Chiana and Dargo, that is fun and hot, but always unstable and always going to fall apart. Even as, like, it's fun and go with it, and I think it's been good for them. There's like, this one is rock steady, even as it's slow, even though they're slowly building and they've got all the things and they just like can't quite seem to get it together. But we know there's a future, because together they are absolutely solid. And we've got, well, it works for now. But hair trigger, like, I think it matters that it's a nothing burger that sends them on this. Yeah, we don't fit.
And that's pretty like typical of relationships too. It's often like a small thing that will bring about those big revelations, I guess.
Yeah, because you've either got the foundation and the compatibility, and you can build that, but sometimes you fundamentally don't. And that doesn't mean doing it is a bad idea, but it's just fundamentally, and especially like at the place that they are right now, Gianna and Dargo is just not stable. And I think it does grow out of who they are, as much as Aaron and John's, solidness comes out of who they are. Dargo and Chiana are both great people, but they are who they are and they know who they are. And Dargo, he's, in her words, a straight sort.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's, and I think this is a different meaning than the Dargo we met in last episode, because I submit that he could be a bi Dargo, but like in that he's not the one to cheat and steal. He's not the one to manipulate, or he is straight edged. He is the good boy.
Mm-hmm.
He is Mr. Honor. That's fundamental to who he is. And Chiana is his opposite. She, and especially like where she is right now in her life. She's is the person who's going to be like, is there an advantage for me here?
Mm-hmm.
Although, is she quite as flighty as she sees herself to be?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think she's very strong, but at the same time, there is a vulnerability there that I think she's scared of. Which makes sense because she's been through so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sarah, I was thinking about something that you told us a while back in the Desert Dogs episode.
Mm.
When the blood runs clear.
Yeah.
About some of the writers talked about the blood being a metaphor for the relationships and the trauma that all the characters have gone through, particularly Jargo and John in that episode, of like, if you can work through it, if you can get through it, then it's healthier on the other side. And I was thinking about that in relation to Chiana's, well, this is who I am, retort.
Mm-hmm.
Because I like your question. I'm not sure, A, if that is who she is, or B, if that is static and immovable.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody can grow. Everybody can
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
her
exactly.
point is that Dargo can't change her, but she can change.
That's true. That's a good point.
And he can change.
Yeah, is Dargo as stable as he sees himself to be?
Oh, absolutely not. Like we saw that at the end of this episode. One hairline trigger, then boom, like, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's an interesting mirroring of the characters' relationships and who they are right now.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows what would happen if you took this Dargo and this Chiana right now and put them in a time bottle for 55 years. Would they have the, together montage walkie stuff? Or would it be fight, break up, fight, break up, fight, break up, make up, break? And I don't know. And or would it be fight, break up for a while, and then that would get to something good? Yeah. Anyway, these are the sorts of questions that this little message in a bottle episode lets us ponder.
Yeah. And perhaps they will be answered. I mean, you already know, Sara, but we don't.
Some things shall be answered and some things shall not be answered.
Good answer.
So the next couple episodes we have The Ugly Truth coming next.
Ooh.
Followed by A Clockwork Nobari.
A Clockwork Nobari.
Nobari.
Interesting. Yeah.
And yes, there is some disturbing eye imagery in the Clockwork Nobari.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So interestingly, this month we gained some patrons, and I want to shout them out.
Oh,
Hell
the
yeah.
new
welcome
people.
to the party, pal.
Welcome aboard, everybody.
Computer cooperate.
Computer, cooperate.
I was
I
like,
can't let you do that, Sara.
I've been told that this microphone is really good for my airline voice as well. They're like, this is your captain speaking. We're going to
It's,
just
it's
take it right on
perfect.
down to 10,000 feet and just kind of hit our cruising altitude. And so we've got some new patrons here, and we're going to get those names pulled up in just a second. And Sara's going to read them. Thank you for your time and choosing Muppets, Sex and Drama.
okay, so this month we got a new patron, the Oak Lady.
Oak Lady.
And also Hannah Nesbeda.
Hannah.
Welcome, Hannah.
Thank you.
And Joel Skog.
Joel, thank you. Thank you very much.
And also Rose, who is in our Discord. Rose, who is in our Discord and who you may have met on Chipperish stuff, who increased their $1 to a $5.
Yay.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Rose.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
Yes, we just wanted to take a moment to appreciate you, and we appreciate all of our patrons.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Keep
so
this ship afloat.
I think that our reacting to Fooled Again.
That was a fun one. That was such a fun reaction.
Yes, that was a fun reaction. And a fun episode to talk about. Which
That episode is bonkers. My God.
We got some comments actually on Facebook about that one because about the episode because we don't often get comments on our videos, but that one is so beloved that we did actually get some comments, and I'm making shit up to talk about because Josh does not look well, and I'm just filling in some time. So I will share some of the comments that we got.
Cool.
So from Aaron of Talon, great name. I always figured Ben Browder purposely played John very superficial and tropish at the start of the series, knowing he was going to get more complex and interesting as the show went on. It's a problem when people watch the first couple of episodes and decide Farscape isn't for them. Yeah, you need to give it a bit of time. From Regitsalium 6713. I'm doing my best here. Great discussion. Love seeing your thoughtful reactions and Josh's deep dives. And from Akane 171. Love this app in a very masochistic way because it was as hilarious and funny on times, and it was also horribly traumatic. Loved how immediately he knew something was wrong, and loved how he stormed into the bathroom. Hey, it worked last time, but this time the game was different. The fact that he admitted he missed Moya and it has become home was so heartwarming. Gosh, the mom stuff. It was touching at first and turned into an absolute nightmare. Spoiler that I'm skipping. I hope John got some hugs when he returned to Moya, because holy crap. As for Ben, I have no words to describe how perfectly complex he made John. Like, I could never ever imagine someone else in this role. I mean, this is what Farscape does. You simply don't get easy in your face answers, and you don't know how to feel, but it sure makes you feel.
That's a good way to describe the show.
And finally, from Tolkripodian, it's been a while since I first watched the episode, but as I recall, it took a minute to figure out the storyline of Harvey versus Scarron at the twist at the end. There you go, Jack. You weren't alone.
Thank you.
This episode was so unlike anything I had seen or expected that my brain was not equipped to handle plot. I'm so excited to see where the show is going to take y'all, because it doesn't stop being unique and incredible ride.
It is unique, yeah. That an episode, there was just so much going on that just, easily got lost in it.
Yeah, it totally is. There's no shame in that. So, yeah. but I thought you might like hearing from some of the people.
Yeah. Yeah,
Thank
that was
you.
nice.
Thank you for your comments.
Yeah, I often I try not to delve into them too much because I don't want to stumble on a spoiler just in case.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have a look sometimes though, and it's nice to see a comment here and there.
Well, we're usually recording a bit ahead, and we can't necessarily pull up the last episode's comments. But in this case, we just scheduling nightmare that we are in fact recording it.
We did it, guys. We finally freaking did it.
I have time enough to edit, but so are we excited for the ugly truth next?
Yes, I mean, just based on that title alone, yeah, maybe Chiana and Dargo are gonna fight again. Maybe, I don't know, because the ugly truth comes out. No, that doesn't make sense. Never mind.
There is no ugly truth to come out.
Yeah, exactly.
Truth will out.
The truth is out there.
So you're predicting Mully and Scolder show up?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm predicting. That's what's going to happen. Sure of it. I'm sure of it.
Well, let's just say we're going to have there's a classic trope is going to show up.
I'm a fan of some classic tropes,
and you will know it as soon as we see it. So yeah, we will.
Interesting.
It is a famous one, and yeah, we will see what Farscape's twist on it is.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
So, favorite part?
John opening the locket. It just all the feels. So just, I love it. I'm such a sap, and that just it tickled me in all the ways. Loved it.
Aaron's death, from the moment the doors part on that gorgeous shot, all the way up until they're gathered around and actually talking about the plan. Like, just her whole death scene was amazing.
I'm going with whose face is in there.
I like that.
I don't want to see his ugly face. and also the little dance.
all of our favorite parts were kind of related. All
different
centered around the same thing.
Yeah, because in this episode there is one ginormous thing in the room, and it is John and Aaron love.
Yeah.
So, but also, it's fun when he does a little jig.
Yeah.
And you can tell that Josh really isn't well because he didn't attempt a little jig. But so we'll wrap this up so you can get some rest. Jack, my love, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Lack of Surprise 1. That's all one word with the number 1 at the end. You can find me over on Instagram at Jack Kramme, lowercase, one word, and over on our Discord server, Howdy Poppets. Josh, what about you, sir?
Come find me over on Instagram. We'll have a good time together. What about you, Sara?
Yeah, once he's had enough cough medicine to float a horse. You can find me on YouTube at the Fat Culture Critic, or on Twitter, or now on in fact on Blue Sky. I am Sara Ezzat at Blue Sky thingy, social.
At Blue Sky thingy.
I'm not very active. I'm still sort of figuring it out, but my friend did give. I know I was last week. I was like, I wanted someone to take me out of the. And yeah, my friend gave me a code. So
cool.
before I edited it, so I did in fact put what my name is because I can't remember. It's my name and some stuff. But yeah. So yes, I am findable in those places, and I even have a new avatar for Pride because is fun. But speaking of which, I hope everyone is having as happy a pride as they can in the circumstance and trying to be safe and care for one another.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we will see you in 2 weeks with the ugly truth. Okay, so we'll just sign off then.
Cheers, friends.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Like a host. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Like
Yeah.
a virgin.
She said like a virgin.
I did.
Touch for the very first time.
like a virgin.
When you're hot. Why do I know so many of the words? 3 older sisters, that's why. I already
That's
know
why.
the answer to that.
Yeah.
Not that that's a particularly
Yeah,
bad
I'll
song.
believe
It's
you.
fine.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
It's a very catchy song.
There's nothing wrong with being a virgin.
Ooh.
No, I was until I was 23.
There you go.
This got derailed in like a microsecond.
That happens.